Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Ready to dive into a topic that I think is, super relevant these days.
Definitely.
Leadership.
Yeah.
But not just any leadership, systems leadership, specifically in public health.
Yeah.
And we've got a fantastic research study to unpack today.
A good one.
From 2021 from the Public Health Journal.
It's a
rich one for sure.
Yeah, so we're going to try to distill what really matters from this research and why it should matter to you.
Right. And especially I think in the wake of all the global health challenges we've been facing.
Exactly. It feels like the need for this kind of big picture leadership is more and more apparent.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I guess to kick things off, maybe we should define what we're even talking about here when we say systems leadership.
Right, because it's not just like your typical CEO or, politician at the top.
Right, it's different.
It's bigger than that.
Yeah, it's about working across boundaries and influence
without direct authority.
Exactly. You don't have to be the one in charge.
Okay.
To be a systems leader.
So, give me an example. How does that actually play out in the real world?
Okay, so think about the pandemic.
Oh yeah, big one.
Yeah, no single organization could have tackled that alone, right?
No way.
It required collaboration across government agencies, healthcare providers, researchers, communities.
I mean, I remember feeling like things were so chaotic back then.
Right.
Different groups were all doing their own thing. And
yeah.
Maybe if there had been a stronger sense of systems leadership from the get-go, things could have been different.
Right. And the study actually calls these kinds of massive interconnected problems wicked problems.
Wicked problems.
Wicked problems because they're so complex and there's no easy answers.
So basically, systems leadership is how we try to wrangle those wicked problems.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we need this kind of leadership at all levels, not just from the top down.
Okay, so you're telling me that even if I'm not, the head of the CDC or the WHO,
right,
I can still practice systems leadership?
Exactly.
How does that work?
It's about influence.
Yeah.
Collaboration, understanding how all the different pieces of the puzzle fit together.
Okay.
So even if you're not calling the shots, you can still be a powerful force by connecting the dots, asking the right questions, working with others to find solutions.
It's like being a facilitator almost.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
One of the people interviewed in the study said it really well. They said,
okay,
systems leadership is about influencing across organizational boundaries where I wouldn't necessarily have direct authority.
That's a good quote.
Yeah.
That makes it feel a lot more accessible suddenly.
Right, because it's about recognizing the influence you do have, even within your specific role.
I like that. Okay, so we've got a better sense of what systems leadership is now, but how do we actually cultivate it? How do we make sure we have enough people who can actually do this?
Yeah, that's the key question, right? Especially with all these wicked problems coming our way.
Yeah. So the study focuses on public health, specifically in England, right?
Yeah, they looked at training programs and talked to people at different levels.
Okay, so what are they doing over there to train up the next generation of systems leaders?
Well, one of the things that really jumped out at me was the emphasis on real-world experience.
Interesting.
Formal training is important. Of course, you got to learn the basics, but it's the hands-on stuff that really makes the difference.
It's like anything else, right? You can read all the books you want, but until you actually get out there and do the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the study quotes one public health registrar who said they felt like their training focused on all these small, discrete bits of work, but not on the bigger picture stuff, like how to see the connections and lead across different areas.
So they're learning the individual ingredients, but not how to put them together into a meal.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this gap between the theory and the actual practice.
Right, and that's what this study really dives into.
Okay, well, I'm hooked. Let's dig into that gap then.
Sounds good.
What are some of those challenges that people face when they're trying to actually, gain that real-world systems leadership experience?
Yeah, let's talk about those roadblocks because there are a few.
All right, bring on the roadblocks.
Right. So one of the biggest things the study found was the need for mentors.
Mentors.
Yeah, people who are already doing this,
Okay.
walking the walk.
So you can see it in action.
Exactly, because it's not enough to just read about it or hear about it in a lecture.
Right, it's got to be real.
Yeah, you need to see how it actually plays out.
It's like learning a sport or something.
Totally.
Like you can watch all the videos you want, but
yeah,
until you're out there with the coach.
right.
Yeah.
And the study actually quotes a senior public health professional who was saying, everyone's talking about systems leadership, but I haven't seen many people actually doing it well.
Oh, wow. That's a little concerning.
Yeah, it's a bit of a red flag.
So finding those mentors who can really model it is like crucial.
Absolutely, it's key.
Okay, what else? What other roadblocks did the study point out?
Well, another big one is that transition from trainee to leader.
Okay.
Like you spend all this time learning and preparing,
right.
and then bam, you're suddenly in a leadership role.
And expected to just know how to do it.
Right, and often without much support.
So like they hand you the keys to the car, but no one's in the passenger seat.
Exactly, and remember, we're talking about a field that's already under a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Budget cuts, staff shortages.
Yeah.
The pandemic's still having an impact.
Right. It's a lot.
So it's no wonder people feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. Sounds like a recipe for burnout.
Yeah, it can be.
So what can we do? What can we do to help those new leaders, navigate those challenges?
Well, the study really emphasizes the importance of a supportive environment. Things like adequate funding, strong public health infrastructure.
That makes sense.
Opportunities for ongoing professional development.
Right. So they feel like they have the resources and the support to actually succeed.
Exactly. And that they're not just being thrown to the wolves.
Yeah. No one wants to be thrown to the wolves.
No.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
And there's one more piece to this.
Okay.
That the study mentions.
Lay it on me.
It might seem obvious, but it's often overlooked. To learn systems leadership effectively.
Yeah.
Learners need to be placed in places where there are reasonably good systems to operate in.
Wait, so you're saying you can't learn to be a systems leader if the system itself is a mess?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
It's like trying to learn to swim in a pool with no water.
Right. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. You need a functioning system to practice in.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, it's not just about individual skills, it's about the context too.
It's about the whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say I'm listening to this and I'm like, all right, I want to be a systems leader.
Great.
Where do I even begin?
Well, the good news is the study offers some pretty practical guidance.
Okay, awesome.
For developing those systems leadership skills.
Perfect. Lay it on me. What are the key takeaways?
Yeah, lots of good stuff in there.
It is a lot to take in.
It is.
But I think it's also really empowering.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, it gives us a roadmap.
Right.
It's not just this vague concept.
Exactly.
Although we need better leadership.
It's like, okay, here are some things you can actually do.
Right. Here's some concrete steps.
Yeah. And it really shifts our perspective, I think.
How so?
It's not about waiting for someone else to lead.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we can all be systems leaders in our own way.
Okay, I like that. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about your own sphere of influence, right?
Okay.
Whether it's your team at work or your community or even just your family.
Right.
You can start applying these principles right now.
So it's like those small everyday actions can actually add up.
Exactly. It's like that ripple effect.
Right.
One small action can create waves.
I love that analogy.
Yeah. And one of the things that really stood out to me in the study was this emphasis on the collective nature of systems leadership.
Right. It's not a solo mission.
No one person has all the answers.
Exactly.
It's about bringing together diverse perspectives, sharing knowledge, working together to find solutions.
Well, it's like a team sport.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this and they're fired up and they're like, all right, I'm ready to be a systems leader.
Awesome.
What advice would you give them? Where do they even begin?
I would say start by reflecting on your own strengths and passions.
Okay.
What are you good at? What are you curious about? What problems are you most passionate about solving?
Love that.
And then look for opportunities to connect with others who are working in those areas.
So network, collaborate, find your people.
Exactly. Build those relationships, share your knowledge, and don't forget those key principles we talked about.
Right. Curiosity, embracing complexity, experiential learning.
Yeah, it's about constantly learning and growing and remembering that it's okay to not have all the answers.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, in fact, that willingness to learn and adapt is what makes a great systems leader.
I think this has been such a great deep dive.
Me too. I'm so glad we did this.
It's given me a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's such an important topic.
I hope it's done the same for our listeners.
Definitely.
So thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you feel inspired to step up and be the systems leaders that we need in the world.
We need you.
Remember, even small actions can create big change.
We really can.
So until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep leading.
See you next time.